Oh, this is one of my favorite shows is when we invite BC Holmes, the maintainer of the character creator app, onto our show to tell us about all the updates. I always think I know everything. I'm like, yeah, I'm up to date. I'm not going to have any surprises. I'm wrong every single time. So again, everybody, welcome to Continuing Conversations, where we talk about everything Star Trek Adventures and Star Trek Adventures adjacent. I'm Michael Dismuke. I'm a freelance writer for Star Trek and also Star Trek Adventures RPG, Captain's Log, lead writer on that, in addition to supporting other amazing RPGs like Sentience and Ashland and Menace and Mystery and all those great RPGs that are coming out right now. I get to write and edit for. And of course, this show was inspired by, and always my partner in crime, Jim Johnson.
Hey everybody, Jim Johnson. I am the project manager and line editor for the Star Trek Adventures RPG and the Captain's Log solo RPG and the Fallout 2D20 RPG, all published by Modiphius Entertainment. Also a fiction writer, Star Trek, science fiction, fantasy, etc., etc. Co-host on this show for 4+ years now. Happy to be still doing this. I can't believe we're still doing this. Amazing. What's that? What's that, Michael? I don't know what that was.
That's all my gray hair. I was showing you my gray hair.
I'm getting old, going on 10 years at STA, but almost 5 years on this show, right? Gosh,
yeah, exactly.
But anyway, so we're here to talk about some cool new stuff, and we have a wonderful guest, no stranger to this show. BC, introduce yourself, please.
Sure. I'm BC Holmes. I'm the current maintainer of the Star Trek Adventures character creator app at sta.bchommes.org. As you say, I've been on the show a few times, and I always enjoy it because the conversation and banter is always really exciting.
And we're always excited to have you on because you've just done, you are an amazing person in and of yourself, right? But the stuff you're doing with the Star Trek, character app that you inherited and then taken over, and not just maintained it, but like improved upon it. And it's always exciting because, like, honestly, I use it, but I don't use it daily. And so I feel like every time I go back to it, it's like, oh, there's a new button, there's a new thing. It's like, this is exciting. And it makes me wish I had it. Of course, back in the dark ages, we didn't even have the internet, right? But like, I think about the best Star Trek campaign I ever ran, a million years ago for 3 solid years. And like, if my co-GM and I had the tools that you have available in this app, we'd still be playing that game, probably. So it's just, and I'm really excited that new players coming into the game have these tools at their disposal to add to their game, and it's just awesome. And how exciting that we get to have you on the show, so you can tell us all about what's new, and maybe a little preview of what's coming.
Yeah, and I just want to say, to build anticipation with the audience right now, it's becoming a tool where you can use every single day or every single game, which is what I'm loving about it. For those of you who don't know, because BC does not self-promote enough, it always gets on my nerves, but there's a Patreon out there. You can support it. Go to the Character Create app, and there's a Patreon you can support. But BC constantly asks the patrons, what are you looking for? What do you want to do with the app? And that's where a lot of these come up. All these updates are based off what you're asking for and what you need for your game. I know I bugged her for 2 things that she put up there, and I'm really happy about it. So just know that I'm going to promote, and we'll promote you toward the end of the show, BC. But why don't you take it and show us why we're in love with this app and what the updates are?
Sure. So like we did last time, I think I'm going to screen share.
Yep. So hopefully you're all watching on YouTube.
Yeah. And so obviously, people who are listening to us on a podcast, am I in the right spot? Do we have the browser, or do we have a whole bunch of stuff behind it?
You have the stuff behind it. If you enlarge that screen, screen, you should be okay. Or just select that window.
Yep.
Although I have to admit, being that guy, I'd love to know what soundtracks you've been listening to recently.
Some of my favorite soundtracks include Tron and Solaris. So those are probably ones that you were seeing in the background. But here we go. There we are.
I'm a big soundtrack fiend, so I'm just always curious to see what else people are listening to.
Arrival.
Yeah.
Oh, good one.
I also love soundtracks.
Mm-hmm.
It probably makes up a good percentage of what I listen to.
Very nice.
Anyway, I'm going to argue that I think that I always make a list when I start this. I'm going to argue that
I love you're so organized.
Well, the problem is I can never remember session to session. It's like, what did I talk about last time? What haven't I told you about? So I have to prep a little bit in advance to make sure that I've got a good handle on all the things that I need to talk about.
I sure it stands repeating, so it's okay.
So I think there's largely three main categories. So category number one, new books and rules. Category number two, new builders. And category number three is sort of the miscellaneous, interesting stuff that might not be as big as some of the other areas, but are also interesting as well. Maybe in that third category, I'll point to something that's new on the homepage right now. So for those of you who are able to see my homepage, you'll see that there's like this box over onto the right-hand side that's called Recents. For a long time, I've had this ability in the app where you can actually view your characters. So if you just created a character, there's a button that allows you to view the character, and you see, the character in a new tab. And that character has a URL associated with it, and you can bookmark those URLs. A lot of people don't think about that, which I think is an interesting thing, because that becomes a way that you can come back to that character at a later time. And so because of some of the changes I was making elsewhere, I kind of wanted to emphasize this idea that, hey, maybe it'd be helpful if you remembered some of your characters. And so I said, well, what if I had the app remember some of those for you? And so if you're a casual player who makes, like maybe one character a year or something like that, having a list of your last 5 characters is probably enough for you. Like, you're able to see, hey, here are the most recent characters that you've played around with. But if you're a GM, like 5 is definitely not a useful enough number. You really want a much larger number than that. So that's one of the areas that falls into the miscellaneous additional stuff. Let's start looking around at some of the newer things in some of the other categories. So one of the miscellaneous changes, somebody had made a comment on the Patreon, in fact, that it would be great if I could actually do a bit more to emphasize the version, because version is such a central notion to how you're going to play the game. And as soon as it was said, I was kind of like, oh yeah, that totally makes sense. I was thinking very nerdy. I understand the implementation. There's this whole, did I select the core rule book or the core second edition rule book? And in my mind, I always knew, oh, that means I've selected first edition or second edition. But for a lot of people, that wasn't as obvious. And so pulling that out into something that's a bit more clear and says, what version are you using, I think was actually a good idea. And I implemented that relatively quickly.
So if you're playing Captain's Log, what are you supposed to select?
Yeah, so you're supposed to ensure that you select the Captain's Logbook. So maybe that's another thing that should be pulled out in a separate way as well. So I think you had pointed out to me at one point that if you don't select the Captain's Logbook, it's not immediately obvious to you why you can't select this. And I think that's probably something I should probably make a bit more obvious, or do something to make it a bit clearer. So maybe, what do you think? Should this drop down be, am I playing first edition, second edition, Captain's Log?
Yeah.
That's an interesting idea.
Because it changes how the flow happens going forward from there.
Yep.
It's actually
right.
It's 3 separate games, so it would make sense to have the 3 of them on a drop down.
Yeah, you're probably right. See, this is why the whole feedback process is an interesting exercise, because you discover different views on things that sometimes make you realize something new is happening.
Just the fact that you take the feedback is so nice.
Ignore it if you don't like it too.
Indeed. I get a lot of feedback, and sometimes I have to ignore some of it. Okay. So in terms of new books, there are a couple of new books that I now support. The ones that are available at the time that we're filming this include the technical manual. So that book has now been implemented. Some of the work on the exploration guide has started, but that's not yet available to users, because at the time that this is being recorded, the exploration guide has not actually been published in terms of hardcover.
And BC always respects that copyright, which is wonderful. Checks with Jim all the time. So everyone out there can know that it's all safe to use.
Indeed. But there's actually a couple of other additional book changes that are less obvious, and that is that both the command and the operations guides have been upgraded for second edition. And so those things are also now additionally supported in the app. And those aren't huge changes, but there are a handful of talents that have new second edition descriptions that go along with them. So those are the new books that are currently in place. And technical manual has a variety of things. There are new and additional talents. There are new and additional space frames. There are new and additional career path options, like career events, that is to say, options that are available there. And I think one of the most important things is that it has reintroduced the mind layer talent, the ability to have minds, which now work differently in second edition than they worked with just Utopia Planitia in first edition. So there's a whole bunch of tools for that as well.
And that question with the exploration guide, are we to expect when that update does release, they of course have like the new career path options, but there's also is it trauma or secret talents? Oh no, secret values. Is that what it is?
Yeah, I think all character creation options will be supported because hey, that's my bread and butter.
The secret values, the secret talents, and the or the hidden talents and the focuses. Yeah, the focuses and the values.
That would be cool. We had a show watched 2 weeks ago. If you all wonder what that's all about, or actually, it'll be a month before it. It'll be a month ago that one would have come out.
Indeed. And so I think that some of the most interesting capabilities that have come out in the last little while have to do with new builders. And I think that there's 2 new builders. And then additionally, there's some advancement options as well. Let's talk about the 2 new builders first up. So I think the easy one to talk about is I've had the ability to generate random NPCs and random starships for a while. I actually now have this ability to generate random creatures. It was just a thing that I started probably about a year ago and finally got around to just finishing. I kept putting it aside anytime like a new book came out or something like that. And I just am interested in alien creatures. I think that those are interesting. So I have a variety of habitat types. Is this something I find in mountains? Is this something I find in space, etc.?
That's cool.
A variety of creature types. Are they some type of bird or plant or what have you? And I can just generate a creature that goes along with that. And so here is something that apparently is a tree.
Oh, this is so good.
And my tree has some special rules. And a bunch of these are special rules that are directly from the second edition rule book. But some of them are things I've scraped from other places. Like there are some adventures for first edition that had some interesting special rules. Okay, but the other of the 2 builders is one, again, this goes back to what Michael was talking about on the Patreon, is one of the, I think one of the things that the Patreon has helped me to do has been to focus a little bit more on getting something done and through the door, and to solicit other people's ideas about what should be given priority. And so one of the things that I've been starting as a repeating cadence now is every other month I start a thread that's about, okay, what should the key feature that I implement next month be? And I start off and I solicit a bunch of ideas, then I collect all those ideas and I put a poll up and I say, now you get to vote on this. What do you think it should be? And the one that wins is the one that I work on in the next month. And so I think NPC was one of the early ones that we came up with. I think Michael was a strong advocate of that.
I did an influencer campaign. I admit. I was all over the place begging people vote this.
But basically now I've had the ability to randomly generate NPCs for a while, but now I have the app has the ability to allow the user to create an NPC of their choosing. And so we support the 3 major NPC types: minor, notable, and major. there's some stuff in the code that really still cares about what character type we are. So we do ask people to specify that up front. Let's say I want to be a civilian. And then I have the ability to do things like this is very similar to the normal main character page for this. So let's say I want to choose a Boolean. Boolean sounds fun, sure. And I can start selecting the various Boolean capabilities. Now, since this is a notable NPC, the notable NPCs have this set of attribute and department numbers that we can just distribute according to the different attributes in the different departments. So one of the attributes should be a 10. Maybe I want that to be, I don't know, reason. Maybe control wants to be a 9, etc. And similarly, we can do things over here. So maybe my Boolean is going to be a scientist with some engineering understanding. So the civilian is going to be a scientist, etc. And let's look at some focuses. Yeah, quantum consciousness. Maybe I'll just go for exobiology or something like that. Laboratory maintenance, work theory.
I love this. This answered dreams for me on quick creation and making sure I have the stats right too. Sometimes I would forget how the stats work sometimes.
That feels cool. And I can randomly generate a value. And again, the precise appearance of this screen varies depending on what type of NPC I've created. And then I get into special rules. And as a notable NPC, I get 2 or 3 special rules. And sometimes it's hard to decide which of these special rules feel like they're appropriate. But since I loaded up on some science options, I've pulled out some science-specific special rules from some of the earlier books, such as this academic explorer, specialist subject, and maybe even trailblazer. That feels like that. Those are some good special rules. And then lastly, I can finally decide if I want to, what name I want to give this person. Rick's Brot is apparently a good Boolean name. I can choose it or I can randomly select it. And here's an area that I've never actually had to deal with in the code before. It's like up until now, my equipment has been generated based on what kind of character I am. So if I am a Starfleet person, I get a uniform, I get a communicator, etc. But maybe as a generated NPC, I want to specify what type of equipment I have, and maybe I have a fondness for portable lab equipment or something like that.
Yeah, for those of you who are listening on the podcast, there's little plus signs next to the equipment and the weapons, and BC's clicking on that and adding and specializing, making this character special with what they have with that, which is so great for this. Yeah.
And the same is true of weapons. So there's a widget on the screen that allows me to add additional weapons here. I've got the standard weapons. Maybe I'm a little bit sketchy and I've got my self-destructor pistol. Bit of a sketchy scientist.
It could be hidden in something like a cane.
Yeah.
You could always get creative with that.
And like usual, I can view that particular NPC and do the usual stuff of exporting to a PDF, etc.
Amazing. Make life easier.
So now here's an interesting thing. Are any of these actually a main character? Yeah, I may have to create myself a main character so that we can do something. Oh, here's a main character. All right, so I've just shown you the 2 new builders. There's additionally the ability to do character progression on main and supporting characters now. So let's say I've taken a main character that I previously created, and this one was, Sharav. Sharav, who is apparently operations track. I can choose to do like a promotion or a standard character advancement. Maybe it's
Hold on, I didn't know this was in
Milestone,
here. Let's slow
a
down for a second because I
character.
need to explain to people what's happening
Yep.
there. So we create basically, and tell me if I'm wrong.
Yep.
I know we always create supporting characters on our crew. My current crew has about 88 characters mapped out as supporting characters. I could put them in here and now keep track of them. And as they get advancement, because sometimes you can give a point to a supporting
Yep.
character to give them a point or give them a new talent. I can now track it in here if I save the
Yeah.
URLs.
Yeah. So the screen that we're currently looking at is really specific to the main character screen, but there's a similar set of enhancement capabilities for the supporting characters as well. So once you have a supporting character, there's no real connection that says it was this main character's advancement that improved this supporting character, but you can improve the supporting characters with modifications as well.
Wow.
So here's an example of a main character where I've decided to deal with, a character arc. Let's do milestone because that has more complications. And as I go along, milestones say that I can change an attribute, change a department, change a focus, or change a talent. So maybe we'll change talent as well. Oh, I guess, did I say adjustment? Don't I have to? Yeah, I've
Did
forgotten
this
now what
character
I
have
actually did.
talents?
I'm sorry?
Did this character already have talents?
Yes. The thing that's kind of confused me is I expected to be prompted to remove a talent on this. Maybe I have a bug. That's a possibility.
Well, good. See, that's why you beta test in scenarios like this. This is why we do this.
Indeed.
We'll keep
And
you up all
so
night.
I'll have to go back and check the set a bit later. All right. So I thought it was the case that if I thought I had chosen the the middle one, which should have prompted me to remove a talent in that.
We know where it's going, and it's wonderful to watch the evolution. This is really cool.
So now, what I am being prompted to do is select a new talent, and so I can select a new talent from the list. And there's some of the talents that Here's another area that goes into that miscellaneous improvement. There's some of the talents that require me to choose additional things. So, for example, the bold talent requires me to choose. I have chosen bold. Off we go. And they say, now that you've chosen bold, we want to be able to choose, which of these things you should have bold on. And apparently, I've previously said I'm bold with engineering. So therefore, I can't be bold with engineering again. But maybe I also want to be bold with security or something like that.
Correct. Yeah.
Let's actually just check that. Yeah. Oh, sorry. Apparently, I was cautious with engineering, which means I can't have bold with engineering.
And yeah. This
So
is so cool. Oh, go ahead.
Yep. I've selected my new talent. I can finish up. And now the modification has been applied to my character, and I can view the new character sheet.
All right. Let me tell you why this makes my life so easy. So whenever we've created our sheets in Google Forms before, I have a list, a character list of everybody who's on the crew and hyperlink. So my players would have to go out to this form, hyperlink to the character and look what they can do. And now what I could do is hyperlink directly into this form. And as it modifies over the years, does it create a new URL every time it's modified? So I just have to replace the link again? Okay.
Exactly.
All right. That's brilliant. Okay. You just changed my life.
Coolio. So yeah, this allows you to evolve your characters over time, apply all of the updates to them as appropriate, and treat these things as living, changing things. But the key element to it is at some level you kind of have to remember that initial URL.
Yeah.
So I always encourage people to bookmark them. But if you're somebody who only creates a few characters at a time, a few characters a year or something like that, that recents list is a good way of also keeping track of them as well.
This is handy.
It's additionally true that I can do the same thing with Starship. So I haven't created a Starship here to start off with. So maybe we can just quickly create a Starship together. So I'm going to quickly go through a couple of screens and say I want to have a Starship. Let's do something straightforward. Like let's be an intrepid class on a scientific and survey mission with high resolution sensors. Don't need any additional talents. Why don't we skip that? Don't need to do any refits. And what are we? Are we the USS Gebru?
There should be more alien named spaceships, by the way. I believe this.
Probably.
Mm-hmm.
So here's my Starship. All standard stuff. And like I had on the main character sheet, I now have this modify button on the view page. So it's down at the bottom. And I can do a very similar thing over here. So I can say, hey, the way that I do upgrades to starships is that a main character will get either a milestone or a character arc modification, and they can choose to apply that modification to the starship. And so let's say it's a character arc. And let's say maybe again, like I can choose department or system. But let's do talent as well, because as I was showing you before, some of the talents now have additional selections, and this is an element where I've gone through and I've adapted stuff. So here's an interesting example. Maybe my Intrepid Starship has an additional propulsion system because we accidentally got trapped in the Delta Quadrant or something like that. And so I have to select what additional propulsion system do I have. Maybe I have myself a nice quantum slipstream drive, and I can select that as an additional option that goes along with the talents. So this is actually an area that I had put myself a bullet point to talk about in the minor improvements, is that I've done a bit of streamlining in the way I handle talents and the additional selections that go along with talents. And there's a handful of them, and an increasing number of these talents that happen over time. Like, for example, if I have organ plants, I have to select from a set of organ plants that I get. If I have, I think there's a Klingon talent. I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head, but they ask you to select either a batleth or a mechleth as a weapon that you've specialized in. That's a choice that you get to make. There's a variety of them: bold, cautious, and collaboration, that require you to select a department that goes along with that.
Mm-hmm. That's cool. So it's walking you through it, and walking you through the character build or the starship build.
And previously it had done this a couple of different ways. So earlier, if you selected bold, it would actually show you 6 different copies of the talent. One was bold, command, and one of them is bold engineering, et cetera, et cetera. And like that worked for those cases, but the effect was that what I'd have is an overwhelmingly long list of talents that I would have to scroll through and make decisions about. And so part of the reason I changed that was just to get that list of talents looking shorter, so that it just doesn't overwhelm people with too many choices. I mean, there's still a lot of talents to choose from.
Yeah.
But but anything I can do to like make the list seem shorter.
It's nice having them all in one place too, instead of having to go through 3 books. It's nice. It's such a convenience that
it's
added there,
Indeed. So again, here's a case where I can add that particular capability. And now if I look here, my ship has this additional propulsion system with the quantum slipstream drive, etc.
That is so cool. And for people who can't see, when the ship sheet comes up, it actually has the form of the ship there too, the outline of the ship. So you get a basic design, which is a nice touch.
I remember like in the early days, people would share copies of the character sheet that they had edited to have different starship shapes on it. And I was always like, but a good system would allow you to automatically fill that ship outline into it. There's a whole story I could tell about the evolution of these ship outlines, but I've always been very fond of those ship outlines.
Yeah. I'm launching a new game with the tabletop group, because our game is coming to an end after 5 years. So I'm doing a tabletop group. And now that you've shown me this, I can go and build their character sheets with them, save your Earl, save the ship. We're playing on an Archer class. So this is going to be fun to play with as I build the new team of the USS Preventus. That's the name of their ship that they elected.
Indeed. Okay, there's just a couple of other little things I wanted to point out to you. So I keep playing with tokens, like tokens. I just love the token creator. My personal goal is like to have every species that's in any of the books and every possible uniform that could be out there. It's going to take me a long time before I'm there, but I keep adding stuff hither and yon. I've added more here with the assistance of my artist. But a couple of the ones that I felt were kind of fun were like the Tholian, which is good fun. Sadly, you can't modify much about the Tholian or anything really about the Tholian. But the other one that I also really like is the Zenkathi. And again, here I'm leaning on the Star Trek Online version of the Zenkathi. The Zenkathi actually also has a Zenkathi armor option that goes along with it that has lots of metal bits that attach to the Zenkathi.
Have we seen a Zenkathi in live action Star Trek yet?
We have not. There was an episode of Discovery, but I think it was the last season of Discovery, where they reference that they had to go to Zenkathi space at the end of one episode, and then you get to the next episode, you're like, are we going to see the Zenkathi? Are we going to see the Zenkathi? But we do not.
Hopefully in Starfleet Academy, maybe.
Indeed.
We already saw that beautiful Jem'Hadar, so that was so cool.
Indeed. There's a handful of additional options in terms of I'm going to do this for Jim's sake. Let's get some Packlet going, some Packlet action. Let's make him a bit paler faced and give him some balding hair, maybe a bit brown hair, and
I love it.
And the Packlets actually have some distinctive mouths here, so I can use the somewhat witless expressions that they seem to get. But one of the options that's now available in the civilian outfit is the Packlet brown space trader outfit. Sorry, were you going to say something?
Yeah, I was going to ask if you had civilian outfits in here, and clearly you do. So, I mean, you could pretty much create any character you see on screen, right?
Yeah, that's the goal.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
A bunch more civilian outfits since I think the last time I was here, like the Quark jacket and the ambassador outfit from Ambassador Fox from TOS.
What do Archer class people wear? They don't really wear, even if they were in 2401, I can't see them in the maroon. What would they be wearing?
You mean Star Trek
people in the Archer class, if you remember this Vanguard series, they didn't wear standard Starfleet costumes. It said they were in engineering costumes or something. So I'm wondering.
Yeah, I think it was the the engineering overalls that they wore in the original series, like the jumpsuit kind of thing, like the orange jumpsuits that the engineers were wearing. I think that's what it is.
Do we have those in here? I'm gonna need to design that.
Yeah, there you go.
Characters.
That's it.
Okay, so that's pretty much you'd see on an Archer class, probably even in 2401.
Yeah, although if I remember right, the Archer class from the original series, I think they had their name embroidered on the shirt, like a bowling shirt.
yeah, it was something like that. Yeah.
Very casual. Yeah.
That's cool.
Confess, I don't remember.
Oh, you already got Picard in here. Nice.
Yeah. So
we can play that. We can play 7 of 9 as captain game. This would be great.
Indeed. But yeah, I've gotten a bit ridiculous with the number of different civilian outfits I support.
Based on the screenshots that we saw of Starfleet Academy, there's going to be a whole bunch of new uniforms to implement. It never ends. There's always something new.
Yeah, it's getting a little ridiculous the number of times Starfleet seems to change their uniform.
Is that a Vulcan outfit down there in the lower left?
Yeah.
I think it's time for us to have a game of who are the Starfleet fashion designers. That should be its own adventure in itself. As they study cultures constantly and try to integrate all the different cultures into the costumes. That'd be a good episode.
I think the last time we were talking here, we were talking about the Leia Brahms outfit, but Leia Brahms has been immortalized with 2 different outfits on this one now. So yeah, she's clearly winning.
Jillian Taylor's outfit there. I see Troy's outfit. Yeah.
Very cool.
This is like
your
a casual
passion comes through on this, BC. I mean, I hope everyone out there, is as we go through here and as you play with the site, that you're thankful. This is a passion project that is a gift, in my opinion, to the Star Trek community. So I just love watching this. So thank you. I know I say thank you all the time, but I'm saying thank you again.
I have one last thing I want to show off. This is actually relatively new. It's happened in the last month. So we have this tracker capability. And so what is a tracker? So a tracker is a thing that allows you to play around with and manage your characters. So just a moment ago, we had updated Rick's brought using the modification process. But let's say I, as a GM, want a consistent or a simple and consolidated view of a bunch of characters or something. So I could take like Rick's brought and maybe also take one of the NPCs I created, Kenneth Batista. I can add them into a screen that basically puts together a bunch of these different characters.
Whoa.
Maybe more. And so I can get myself a sort of consolidated list of a bunch of characters with a really simple summary. And, if I want to have that as a sort of GM aid, I could actually print out a PDF version of that. If you just let me.
What a way to track NPCs over time, too.
Yeah.
And build these every time they show up in an episode. And I take it those eyeglasses mean I could view the entire sheet in detail so I could read the
exactly.
tags.
And so I can print out a sheet. I can get multiple pages of this as appropriate. That gives me a summary of all of those characters that I've assembled together. And I can do things like, click on the personal threat if I spent my personal threat, and it gives me like listings of like their attacks and focuses, values, et cetera. And this is a tool for those cases like big combat scenes, for example, where having a smaller number of pages that you have to leaf through is advantageous. And if you really need to like look up the talent or look up something on the full character sheet, you can have that in reserve as well. So again, brand new thing that has launched out on this particular character creator app. Already I've got some ideas that have come to me about, hey, what if it also did that? Or hey, what about this also? Etc. So this could evolve over time as well. So this
did it again. This is going to be so helpful.
Oh, thank you. And so there we have it. Those are the key big areas that have evolved in the app.
Jim, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, always cool stuff. It's always exciting to see how it grows and changes, month after month.
It's crazy. It's so good. Yeah. I mean, and I encourage people again, BC's not going to do it. So I'm doing it. Plug it, go to the site, hit her up on the Patreon. Again, she's donating her time to do this, just like we do on continuing missions. This is a labor of love. Everyone know, well, I'm going to say, I always tell people it's also part selfishness because I want the products to keep coming out. So I'm all into, I hate it when my favorite RPGs stop publishing stuff. So the more you play, convert one person to play or a friend a year, and it'll keep going and get to tipping point, we hope. But BC, I've always said it, I'll say it again. This game would not be as popular as it is if you weren't making it easier for people to generate their characters and their starships in such wonderful fashion.
Thank you. I have always believed that access to an easy and free tool increases the audience rather than steals the audience or what have you.
Yeah, I think the data is showing that. I do believe that that is true. It's really good. Awesome. All right. So I'm going to play with this tonight for sure, because now I have work to do for my USS Preventus game and all that good stuff. Let's go around and do our gratitude. Do you want to start, BC?
Sure. I feel like this should be my standard one for this type of session. I'm going to give my gratitude to my patrons, who, without whom I would not have A, cool new ideas, and B, the sort of focus that having this Patreon action has actually given me. So it's the thing that I've actually found very valuable in terms of figuring out new directions that I want to go in and making sure that I'm actually applying myself to get new features out the door in a timely fashion.
Wonderful, wonderful. And I know we have you on Continuing Missions. There's a link there. So I want to give my gratitude to all the contributors to Continuing Missions. I tell people every day, Michael Dismuke at Michael Dismuke1 at gmail.com. If you have things you want to contribute to the greater community. I just saw Alf in a Starfleet costume. Someone did an Alf thing, and I was like, please, can we put this up? So I know we've had years of content on Continuing Missions. If it's PG-13, if it doesn't violate Star Trek Adventures copyright, it's welcome, because again, it makes the energy for the game just get stronger and stronger. So thank you to all of you contributors. If you're going to ask me, if you want to add something to it, yes, with those 2 perimeters, you'll reach out to me on social media and we'll get it up there with all the other wonderful links like BC's character creator. Jim?
So as always, grateful to BC for maintaining the tool and adding to it, and making it available for fans to use it in their games and to keep building the fan base. We got to do it one person at a time. So just another way to do that. So always appreciative of that. And also grateful to all the fans out there who've been with us for the last 9 years, and hopefully will be with us for years to come. Thank you for that. If it wasn't for the fans, we wouldn't have done a second edition, and we probably still wouldn't be doing the game. So thanks for being on the ride with us all.
All right. So until next time, and of course, we'll have BC on, I'm sure, in a couple months with some more amazing stuff, making our lives easier. Until then, IDIC.
Live long and prosper, y'all. Be safe. Be well. We'll see you next time.